to you live from Anthropology Tonight. I'm Shane Kubrak, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a big deal around here.
And I'm Ayla Acosta.
And she's not so much. Each year for Carnival, Brazil's biggest television network, Globo, selects a Globaliza Carnival queen, much like America's Miss USA pageant. This woman is to become the star of the entire carnival, dressing in skimpy clothing while dancing the samba.
And in 2013, Nayara Justino was voted to reign as the Globaleza, but was later dethroned and replaced by another woman for unknown reasons. The 27-year-old is now sharing that she believes it was because she was too black. So when we look at some advertisements for Carnival, we see a huge push to the hypersexualization of a woman's body. Here, the Globaleza, as described in a Huffington Post article, is a naked black woman who is dancing provocatively and silently while connecting with the viewer only through the image of her body, therefore making it not about the woman but about her body, her sensuality, and her sexuality. When we apply our Western views on this type of role, we become really appalled by it, so that it becomes kind of questionable and concerning for us to have a woman simply dance around in skimpy clothing. But have you seen a Victoria's Secret fashion show? Kind of the same thing. I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
So,
Big fan.
So when we remove our ethnocentrism from this and look at how Brazil views sexuality, we see it kind of differently. In Donna Goldstein's book, Laughter Out of Place, she says that this culture possesses an open, permissive approach to sexuality. This sexuality is central to Brazilian identity, and Brazilians are proudly interested in and devoted to their own particular form of normative heterosexuality. Therefore, the Globaleza is not scrutinized as an objectification of women's bodies, but rather appreciated as pleasurable and complementary of a woman's body. So in a way, yes, the Globaleza is turned into an object, but not in the same sense of our Western definition of a woman being objectified. Instead, she's an object of prey that represents the beauty and conformation to the centrality of sexuality to the social life in Brazilian culture.
In my studies in Brazil, I studied race relations. It could be argued that Carnival may well reinforce the dominant social structure simply because that the inversions that take place during the week are temporary and ultimately take place only with elite approval. This basically means that during Carnival there's sort of kind of like fake things going on, this fake perception of what really happens. Rio's Carnival, for example, has moved in stages historically from being a street carnival to being a commercialized competition between samba schools held in the Samba Dromo. So basically, as over time, we've seen this change from something that used to incorporate the whole culture into something now we're seeing that's separated between race, age, all types of sorts of things. In 2013, Nayara Justino, a black Brazilian, was voted by the public to reign as the Globaleza, only to be later dethroned and replaced by a woman with much lighter skin for unknown reasons. So this is a perfect example right here. We can see that because this girl is of darker skin color, she was replaced by a lighter skin color to do whatever. Being a darker skin color, although not specifically being written in any legal document form, is associated with being poor and having certain types of jobs. So basically we studied in Brazil that we can see a correlation with darker skin color being poor and having not so great jobs, and being the lighter skin colors are the elite, the people that make a lot of money in Brazil.
And now over to Joseph.
Thanks, Ayla. Today I'll be talking about social misconceptions of black women in Brazil. Black women represent the majority of domestic workers and of women prisoners in Brazil. They suffer from obstetric violence, and they are a minority in public universities and in Congress, according to Lorena Manique of the Huffington Post. Carnival Brazil fantasizes a false sense of the identity of black women in Brazil. The Mulata Globaleza of Carnival presents an image of an all-black woman in Brazil being light-skinned, tall, and beautiful. This is not, in fact, the reality of women's appearances in Brazil, but social media does not cover a realistic image since they do not represent sex objects. An opposing view of woman is hard to achieve, as Goldstein writes. The carnalization of desire is largely, although not entirely, a masculinist vision of desire and transgression. As a result, counter-discourses to this particular vision are difficult to develop. This masculinist vision of desire and sexualization that depicts a false view of what women look like is displayed by the Globaleza and women in Carnival. Carnival also regresses the view of Brazilian black women, as the media portrays solely women playing the same stereotypical role as sex objects. They do not display a woman's progression to equality. The first edition of Black Women's March occurred in 2015, representing the daily struggle against racism, sexism, and Eurocentrism, as well as demonstrating the strong presence of Black women in the country, which does not coincide with Carnival's view of women. This movement is disregarded. Goldstein similarly discusses legislation around issues that relate to sexuality being cautiously approached by the government and not given much respect. Thank you.
Hi, Winston-Salem. This is Shani, and I have been studying with gender and sexuality related in Brazil. And the article introduced by Ayla and Shane is actually really kind of review the theme I've been studying for a while. And actually in Brazil, society has created norms for women. As the book Laughter Out of Place mentioned, white women for marriage, military women and black women for work. Black women are more considered nurturers of the family or sexual objects instead of independent individuals in the society. As globalizer and beauty pageant in the news revealed, thin, tall, slender, big breasts, big butts, curly hair with a few blonde locks, and lighter skin. That is the acceptable standard for black women, even if only as a sex object. Actually, women figures in the carnival represents the social expectation over black women as being sexual. Also, as the book Laughter Out of Place mentions, most of the black women, like Gloria, are short of money. When they are short of money, they will find a boyfriend to support them. This is the social accent exchange, like the money exchange for sex between men and women. Also, due to the sexuality, there is a consumer relationship between men and women in Brazil. Women are perceived as the one being eaten due to the passive position in sex. Thus, women are considered in a lower status comparing to men, and they are more close to objects instead of independent individuals. As the book just mentioned, like boys are encouraged and expected to become active seducers, while women, in order to remain good women, are expected to attain their early sexual experience directly from their male partners, and ideally as inexperienced virgins. And while expecting women to keep purity but emphasizing on the sexuality, Brazil gives black women really contradictory expectations and thus put them in an extraordinary hard position.
So, in conclusion, when we look at Carnival with the glasses of our Western culture, we see it as something very different to what our society is used to. We put on all these political associations and sexual representations of women, but when we take away this ethnocentrism, we see how much an impact this event has on society and how it truly kind of represents the culture of Brazil. And we also want to thank all of our anthropological reporters for joining us today and for bringing to light some of these important issues that are surrounding Carnival in Brazil. Quite an interesting topic, to say the least.
I'm Ron Burgundy. Wait, no I'm not. I'm Shane Kubrak. And I think I want to go to Carnival now. Would you like to go with me?
No, not with you. I'm Ayla Acosta, and good night from us here at Anthropology Tonight.
Stay classy, Winston-Salem.